So thank you very much and welcome everyone. I'm Stephan, the CEO of sprylab, a software developing company, and we are developers of Purple DS, which is an app-focused digital publishing suite. And we have very big publishing houses as our main customers, Axel Springer, Boda, Bauer, for example. And the case study I'm showing today is with one of our customers, Newslife Media Australia, and exactly their corporate publishing division. And we did a nice project for Woolworth. So that's not the Woolworth all the German guys are knowing. Woolworth is a big supermarket chain in Australia. And what we did for them, or let's start with what they had before we approached the project. They have a really nice customer magazine, which is Woolworth Fresh. It's a monthly magazine, and they produce it in a, we call it InDesign first approach. So they don't have any structured data, they start with plain InDesign. But besides some articles and advertisings, there are many, many great recipes in that customer magazine. And before they produced an app with Adobe DPS, a very boring one to be honest, and this app was totally issue-based. So we had one-to-one the monthly issues in this app, and the recipes were buried in these issues somewhere. So what we convinced them to do when they approached us and said, okay, transform the app from Adobe DPS to Purple, we said, okay, but we don't want to do it as a one-to-one replica because that app isn't working quite well. And we thought of something else because we said, you have so many great recipes there. So let's build a recipe database and move from an issue-based publishing to, let's say, recipe-based publishing. What many of you might do with article first, so they have recipes first. Of course, we wanted to have web and app covered and make the recipes somehow interactive, work on every device, and integrate the Woolworth store so you can buy ingredients with one single click. So the high-level workflow looks like this. Unfortunately, as I said, they provide us just the InDesign, here's a step, just the InDesign file. And because of this we had to incorporate the Purple DS templating client, which is for structuring data. So with the templating client, we take the InDesign and create XML out of it. So at that point, we have well-structured XML from the articles and the recipes. What we're doing then, two steps. First step is we push the whole issue in the app directly because they still want to have a newsstand, an issue-based newsstand, but this isn't the home of the app anymore. We pushed it behind the recipes. And the recipe workflow is a bit different because once we have the XML of the recipes, we don't push them in the issues only, we push them into Thunder. And from Thunder, we can push the recipes in our recipe channel. So that's the home of the app. Nice looking recipe channel. You can browse to the latest recipes, your favorite recipes, and so on, and take a look at them. So we go into it a little bit more in depth. First thing, why we choose Thunder. Of course, we have web and social covered when we use Thunder because it's a perfect web CMS. But what was very important for us is that it's possible to create customizable content types because we want to have a recipe management system, let's say so. And when we are able to do a custom content type, we still are able to use all the Thunder functionality to manage the recipes, search them, use the taxonomy, and so on and so on. Next thing was very, very important to us as well because we somehow had to get the XML into Thunder and get the XML out of Thunder. So that was a key thing, and we spoke to Miro from MD Systems about this. He is the developer behind the paragraphs module you all know. And we asked him, hey, can we do something together that we can push XML from the templating client to Thunder, manage everything in Thunder, and then export the same XML, which is managed by Thunder, to our app publishing platform, Purple.ds. And he said, yes, that is possible. So we made a small module, which is actually quite a cool product now, and you can just plug it into your Thunder distribution and have the connection to Thunder and from Thunder, and you can connect Purple.ds in it. So let's take a deeper look. The first step I'm showing you on a small video right now is we're taking the InDesign, opening it up with our Purple templating client, and then pushing the recipes into Thunder. Boom. So should work now. So this is InDesign, just the normal InDesign issue, the monthly Woolworth Fresh. Then we open up our InDesign plugin and export all the pages to the templating client. Once this is done, the templating client opens, and you see here at the top all InDesign pages we exported. Here's the XML structure with an Drupal as well, and you can just tag everything by drag and drop, or if it's a little bit structured in InDesign, we can also have rules which do the tagging, let's say, semi-automated. Then we have the preview here, which is very important. So now you see the change we just did with the headline. And when we are finished tagging the article, we upload it directly into the Thunder CMS. Of course, that's user-based, and now all pages we tagged or all articles we've done are uploaded to Thunder. And now that is Thunder, and that's our recipe content type. And you will see in a second that the frittata recipe we just tagged is in Thunder. But what we are doing now we have everything in Thunder and can manage the recipe beautifully. And we wanted to achieve two things in the first step of the project. One was to push everything in the app and have a nice, we call it, as I said, recipe-first experience for the user. Second thing is push it in the web, social media, and so on. And again, did you see how it works? We're going into Thunder, finding exact the same article or recipe we just tagged and uploaded in Thunder. Now we select in which app channel this recipe should be published. You can't read it, but here you select that this should be published to a live app or a preview app so that you can check everything. And then you have the app. So that's the iPad app, but of course there's a phone version as well. You can search for the just tagged and upload recipe. And it's opened up in a nice layout we just did for them. Of course, as I said, in the same app, there's also a newsstand, and we just jump in there very quickly that you see that as well. It's all issues, then the typical newsstand opens up, and then you can browse the whole issue, let's say the September issue of Woolworth Fresh, which is quite a nice user experience. So they have a lot of ads in there, but later on the same recipes coming up, so which are in the issue. So how could the future look like? What you've seen there is live. The app went live just 1 week before, right? Somehow, yeah. And what we are thinking about now is to turn around the process, because it's kind of too much work to create an InDesign and then take the InDesign to create XML out of it again, right? So it would be way better if we have the InDesign down here and the editorial team working directly with Thunder. And then Thunder would be really a multi-channel publishing system, because then we have web covered, we have app covered, and we have also the InDesign. So we have print covered as well. And that's something Christian from INF will talk about a little later on. That's a little bit more the ecosystem we're thinking about at the moment, so that you have an ecosystem where you can have various sources of data to put it into Thunder and import it. Might be the templating client as shown before, might be Elvis, might be Bricksware. You manage your content in Thunder, and then you have all the possible channels we've talked about some seconds ago. So the NF Thunder for Print, that you create your InDesigns out of it. The Purple DS app plugin you can just install and connect to your app publishing suite. And of course, Thunder for web and social. That's all from me. Thank you very much. And if questions are...
Join the Thunder Coalition now. Spread the word, contribute, and benefit.